Okay, so to start our project, we're going to make one bag handle first. To set this up, find the middle point of your two long ropes and then measure from that middle point up 18 inches and then mark that spot off with a piece of tape. Okay, so you have the rest of your ropes one direction and then we're going to be working down. The design for our bag handle will be made using alternating half hitch knots. So go ahead and take the side here on the left and cross it over your right cord to form a loop. Then twist it around the right cord to go through the loop. And then just pull it nice and tight. Now repeat the same steps, but this time start on the right side. Take the right cord over the left to form a loop. Twist it around so it goes through the loop and pull it through. And then pull it nice and tight. Okay, this is what my bag handle looks like once it is all complete. And mine is about 19 inches long. Okay, so just go ahead and lay your handle out on a tabletop surface. And now we're going to start adding in extra ropes. Bring in one of your ropes and fold it evenly in half. We're going to attach it to the left side of our bag handle with a square knot. So just place it right next to that side of your bag handle. And I'm going to take these little needles to kind of pin my project down just to make it a little easier to tie. Okay, and now I'm going to tie this together with a square knot. So to make a square knot, I'm going to take the side here on the right and cross it over the two cords in the middle to form a loop. Now I'm going to take the side on the left and it's going to go over the right cord, behind the two in the middle, and then up through the loop on the right. And just pull that nice and tight. Now to finish my square knot, I'm going to take the side on the left to cross over the two ropes in the middle to form the loop. The side on the right goes over the left, behind the two ropes in the middle, and then up through the loop. Pull it tight. My square knot is now finished. Now we're going to add another rope to the right side of our bag handle. So take another piece of rope and fold it evenly in half, and I'm going to place it next to my bag handle, this time on the left side. And we're just going to attach that to our bag handle using another square knot. Just like that. Now you can set your bag handle off to the side for now. Now we will be making what is called floating square knots. So go ahead and take two ropes and fold them evenly in half and secure them down to a tabletop. Now form a square knot like normal. Just like that. Make 3 more of these floating square knots for a total of 4. One more time on how to make your floating square knot. Just take 2 ropes, fold them both evenly in half, and secure them to a tabletop. Okay, this is what my project looks like now with all those floating square knots finished, okay? So I just placed 2 on the end and then 2 in between the bag handles. And you want those bag handle square knots, the bigger part of that square knot, to be towards the middle. Now our next step is to connect our square knots together so that they're not floating square knots anymore. So to do this, we will be making alternating square knots. I'm going to start here on the left, and I'm going to leave off the 2 cords all the way on the far left and take the next 4 ropes. Now using these 4 ropes, I just tie them in a normal square knot. Now we move on to the next 4 cords and just repeat. And I do recommend pinning down your square knots to make this a little easier to do. Now we're going to repeat all of these steps that we just did one more time for the second half of our bag. And here is what it will look like with both bag sections complete. And now we're going to connect our bag sides together. So I'm going to take the 2 cords all the way on the very far right of this bag side, and then the 2 cords all the way on the far left of our other. Okay, so with these 4 ropes, we're just going to connect our bag sides together with a square knot. Just like that. And now we're going to fold our bag in half so we can connect the other side. So I like to fold the left side behind the side on the right. Okay, once it's folded, your square knot should all be right facing like we have been making. Now I like to just slide it a little uneven and twist it around so you can see where you need to connect it, okay? It's just the 2 last square knots. They'll be lined up once it's folded in half. 2 cords from the left, square knot and 2 cords from the right square knot, and we just tie these together with another square knot, just like we did before. And this is just going to finish connecting our bag together. Just like that, okay? Now it is all connected all the way around. Okay, so now I've just gone ahead and hung my bag up to make it a little bit easier for tying the rest of this project. So for the rest of this project, we're going to be making more square knots. But I am going to be making switch square knots instead of normal square knots. So I will show you exactly what I mean by that. I'm going to start here right where my bag handle on the left is and take 2 cords from the square knot here and 2 ropes from the square knot next to it. Okay, so these will be alternating square knots the whole time. Now to do the switch knot, all I do is take the 2 outer cords, send them over the 2 in the middle so that they switch places. And then I just tie a square knot like normal around the 2 new ropes that are in the middle. When I pull it tight, I am going to leave a little bit of a gap, so I like to do about a finger width. You can add more or less space depending on the specific design you want for your own bag. Then I move on to the next 4 ropes and I repeat the same process. Make sure your square knot lines up with your previous one on the same row. Once you make it to the end of your first side, just go ahead and flip your bag around. And then we can just continue doing the same process. So again, I'm going to start all the way here on the left and just make those switch square knots. You want both sides of your bag to line up so you can kind of peek around to make sure it is placed right, or you can use your little measuring system, whatever that might be. And once you get all the way around again, we can just flip our bag and continue tying our switch knots. So now we're on a new row. So just take 2 ropes from 2 different square knots, take the outer cords over the 2 in the middle to switch places, and just keep tying your square knots. Okay, so I have gone ahead and tied exactly 10 rows starting from the very top and going down. This is 10 rows. So this is about the length I'm going to want my bag to be. So now I'm going to tie another row of these square knots, and I'm going to do them very tight underneath this last row so that we can start to close our bag up and have it secured at the bottom, okay? And I'm going to be tying regular square knots to help me make sure that the knot is right up against the last row. So I'm just going to start right here and tie a square knot as normal. And when I pull this tight, I'm just going to make sure it is sitting snug right below. Okay, so you don't want any space for this new square knot. Move on to the next 4 ropes and just tie another normal square knot, pulling it tight up against that row. Okay, so that row of square knots is complete all the way around my bag. And now I'm actually going to tie one last row of these really tight square knots. Okay, so once again, you just take 4 cords and you tie your normal square knot, making sure to push it all the way up top below that last row there, okay? Continue all the way around your bag. And this is what the bag will look like with those final rows of square knots complete. So total, I have 12 rows of square knots made. Now we're going to close the bottom part of our bag so it can be complete. Okay, closing our bag is actually really simple. We're just going to be tying double knots. Okay, just your simple double knot. And so I'm gonna start here on the edge. So I'm just gonna turn my bag so you can kind of see. And you wanna make sure you grab the proper ropes. So you'll notice your rows of square knots. You got a square knot, then a gap, square knot, gap, square knot, gap, square knot, gap, square knot, gap, square knot. So on that last square knot, you'll have your 2 ropes right here in the middle. So go ahead and just tie these 2 ropes together in a simple double knot. Just pull it extra tight, okay? Now you can kind of move that out of your way, and you're going to take the other 2 cords from that square knot, and these get tied together in a double knot. And now we're going to be working all the way across doing the same process. So now you're just going to find the mirror image of your rope. So I'm taking the far cord from the square knot, and then I'm looking right behind and taking the mirror image. And I'm just going to tie these together with that double knot. Now you take the next cord, find its pair. Okay, you can kind of peek around and see its pair, and tie it in a knot. Now if you're using braided cord, this should be very secure and you don't have to worry about your ropes coming undone. If you're using more slippery type of rope, you can always add more of these little knots to give it more security, or even use fabric glue or a hot glue gun, anything like that, just to make you feel a little more comfortable with the security. But otherwise, this is all we're doing is just tying double knots to close up the bag. Okay, I'm back on the edge of my bag. This is the very last square knot I need to tie. So again, make sure you're tying the outer cords together. And then you can tie those two middle ones together as well. And now my bag is tied on the bottom, okay? So it is completely closed up all the way around. Now if you want, you can end your bag with tassels hanging, so you could just trim this and leave them like this. You could gather them together in bundles to make little gathering knot type tassels. Or if you want to keep your ropes hidden, what we're going to do is trim them off so there's only about an inch of rope remaining, and then I'm going to show you how to hide them. Okay, now that those are all cut off, we're going to take our bag, and I'm just going to take it off my hooks here, and I'm going to take the bag and I'm going to turn it inside out. All right, so this is what the bag will look like once it is flipped inside out. So this is the front view. And this here is the bottom, all perfectly closed up and secure. Now the ropes we cut off, the ends are on the inside of the bag. So an option, if that's going to be a problem, is to line this with a fabric backing, or at least put a fabric on the bottom of your bag. Okay? Otherwise, this is the perfect market day or beach day accessory, or honestly, it's just cute for festivals or really anything else you would like.